All right, it's my turn, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. So, welcome to our Dead Talk. This week is Lurk Emote Toilet Death. Alex is dying in the bathroom. Then, if anything happens, we get a call.
I have Wobble's in there anyway. We're fine. At this point, Wobble is our toilet lifeguard.
uh, so the spirit Rin Yamaoka, who is the great 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 granddaughter of Oni Kazan Yamaoka, um, which I think her DLC was first, but that's still a really fun little tie-in. And it does come into play as far as apparently their blind rage is genetic. um, so Rin was a college student. Her family was middle class ish. But the university she was going to was private, so it was very expensive. And her father was just I think they called him just like a salary man. So basically just middle marketing business guy, not making loads of money, but also like they weren't impoverished. Um, but it was a struggle to afford her schooling because it was a private university that he was trying to send her to. And uh she started to work as a waitress as well, to help kind of make some money to help with it, but it generally was not enough. So her family was already like pushed to the edges of being financially insecure. Hi, artist. Hi, Titan. We just got started. Um, and that all got a lot worse when her mother got sick, because the medical bills and having to care for her, and her mother was bedridden. She couldn't work herself. That really started to pile up. So that was extremely stressful for Rin's father. Um, and it kind of just ate away at him. The constant stress of just trying to get by, of taking care of his wife, taking care of his daughter, making sure they had a house, they had food, to the point that he started having very dark thoughts, that would keep him up at night. Um, I don't know where the tome story comes in, so I'm gonna talk about that before I get to the end of Rin's father's dark thoughts. Um, Rin had been taking kendo lessons for a really long time, which is a form of martial art. She didn't really enjoy it, to be honest, but it was something that her father insisted she do because she is a Yamaoka. She comes from a bloodline of samurai, again, Kazan Yamaoka, and just warriors in general. And it would be a shame for her to not embrace her ancestry and heritage by being a martial artist. So she was kind of forced into kendo, but she was also really fucking good at it. Um, so she kind of didn't she wasn't like at the front of her class or anything like that. Like she didn't really want to draw attention to her because also like she was surrounded by guys, and if anybody has ever known what it's like to be a woman surrounded by men in a men-dominated field, it sucks. It's horrifying, and the least amount of attention you can draw to yourself, the better. But that didn't stop them from noticing the times that she did kick their ass. And there was a group of guys who particularly did not like that she was better than them. They couldn't handle it. Toxic masculinity strikes again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's walking home after her kendo class, really late one night. And a group of those guys come up and they start messing with her. And she already, like, in her mind, already knew, like, what was going to happen. They were going to try to beat her up and shit. Um, they knocked her down, started curb stomping her, and then that good old faithful Yamaoka rage, Kazan just emerged from deep within her DNA. And the tome is really cool when you watch it, like the video, because you hear Oni's roar
Mm-hmm.
during it, which is awesome. Um, and So she refers to that rage that she feels as the dragon awakening.
Mhm.
So which tells me this is not the first time she's experienced the dragon. Um, because it's very familiar with it from how it was described. But she basically just got up, and I'm not exactly sure what the weapon is, but it's basically like a blunt sword that they use for kendo training. Uh, and started bludgeoning those guys until they were on the ground, not dead, but beaten. And she left them there. So she has she's a trained martial artist. She's a fighter, which makes this next part a little bit more I guess believable as far as how she held her own. Because hello Sam, welcome. Toxic masculinity is a hell of a Kool-Aid. It really is. Um so like I said, she was working as a waitress. Her family was really, really struggling paying for everything. That was like school, her mother's medical bills. She came home from work late one night, and as she was putting her bike away, she heard her mother screaming from the house. And when she ran in to see what was happening, she first thing she saw was her mother in her bed, chopped up into pieces, and her guts split open. And realistically, at that sight, she gagged. And the next thing she saw was her father coming at her with a katana. And immediately she went into fight reaction. So, not flight, she's a fighter. um, from there, she he hit her arm, and she tried to run out of the room and got knocked down. And as she was pulling herself up, he actually like cut almost through her arm, to the point that she was then out into like the hallway. He uh kept trying to hit her with the katana. He eventually grabbed her hair and threw her through a glass partition from like the second story to the first, where she landed down in the glass. She could hear him still up there walking around. Um, and she knew she could not let him get away with it. So she was really struggling, fighting to survive. And she was trying to get up, and she was crawling through the glass. It was getting embedded into her skin. At one point, when he was attacking her, he had ripped her abdomen open, and that was just a wound. Um,
Yeah.
uh, while she was crawling through the glass trying to get up, she's just profusely bleeding out. Let's see. So, coughing up blood, her chin grazed the glass, adding to the bleeding. A low pitched heartbeat started to ring in her ears. Her body felt so heavy she could no longer move. The ground shook with her father's footsteps. She knew she was not going to make it, but she no longer cared. She would make him pay in this life or the next. And that is when the fog took her, and the entity promised an eternity of rage and revenge. Um, and so, a couple of really cool things. So if you look at Spirit, everywhere that like her body is disconnected, is supposed to be where her father had actually hit her with the katana and chopped her up. And when she is moriing somebody, she is actually cutting them in the same places that her father hit her. So she's just reliving every time she mories, she's just reliving that nightmare of being chopped up by her own father. Also, the add on Father's Glasses lets you see blood,
Ooh.
which is lore wise my favorite add on. Did I miss anything?
Well, I had like I was pondering like that last sentence that you were saying that she wanted to have revenge either in this life or the next,
Hmm.
and then she went into the fog. So I'm like, are any of the survivors like the reincarnated or past life of her dad? Like that
Interest,
she was able to that she was like, okay, this is fine.
interesting thought.
Because I mean, if somebody came along and was like, hey, yeah, you can come into this place and just like kill some people because you got some rage problems that need an outlet, and you're very specifically pissed at that one person, you're probably not gonna be like, yeah, let me just go and in general rage at other people. It's like, no, 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 I want that guy.
Well, so I think it's more that she was consumed by her rage. So this is she's very much like the grudge is what I got from it. Where it was triggered by a specific person, but no longer aimed. It's just blanket rage. Artist also says girl boss. Isn't it implied that her father snapping was something to do with the entity, or am I misremembering a tome somewhere? I did not read that anywhere.
I didn't get the impression that it's the entity from the way that like she was talking about the voices and like they were described. It felt more like the ancestors that were the rage factories in
Y-
the family,
yes.
the ones that were like, "Hey, let's go kill people."
It's just that genetic Yamaoka rage.
Yeah, so
I
I
could see
didn't
that.
get the impression that it was the entity at all,
I didn't either.
but it was the ancestor voices. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, since Oni did eventually was in the fog at some point or another, maybe
True.
the entity was like, "Hey, man, $5, bring your family in."
Yeah, the entity, they were actually trying to get her father and then saw how much of a fight she put up and how angry she was and was like, this is the good target.
No, no, no. Let this guy get caught by the police. We get this one. We have changed our minds.
All right. So, as far as the horror movie goes, uh this is going to take place at the Yamaoka family residence. Artist. So wait, Oni is her father's great 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 blank grandfather and not her mother's? Correct. She was, I think we can assume she was very close to her mother.
Yeah.
Um, I would say simply from the add-on mother-daughter ring. Like they had a shared piece of jewelry. So,
Honestly, that was probably like the one thing keeping her from snapping because like she didn't kill the bullies, and like during those periods when they came after her, she did originally run away.
yes.
Like the her ancestors were like, "Go fuck them up," and she was like, "No, no, I'm not gonna do that." And even when she did fight with them, she didn't kill them. And the voices were like, "Hey, maybe you should." And she's like, "No, no, no, I'm going home." But it's like all bets were off the moment her mom died. Like that
Yeah.
was probably like her whole tie to humanity right there was her mom. And the moment that was gone, she was like, "Fuck it."
Yes. All right. Let me get the little screen up, which is again why I would say she's very much like the grudge.
So I love the fact that like when you're on that map, that there's Oni shrines all over the damn place. Like
Yes.
I walked around there and they were in like the little buildings. There was a main one in the house. Like I actually got Alex to mori me right in front of it.
I saw.
Uh like you can see his mask and everything.
Yes.
I was like, that was super badass.
I loved the clip of you when you're just like chilling by the shrine and Alex is like peeking over the through the vault, just watching Rin just have a moment with her great 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 grandfather.
Yeah. Like, all right, honey, I need you to set up for a family photo. he, come, he would come over and just like stand there for the family photo. And like, this is exactly how I imagine this going down.
Artists love Spirit, but also hate Spirit. We love Spirit's lore. We hate Spirit's counter.
Yeah. So I'm like, I love everything about Spirit, but I hate playing against Spirit because like the one
Right.
counter, it's like it's good for Spirit. Not gonna help me a lot everywhere else.
Well, so like her best counter, to be fair, is Iron Will, Lucky Break, Spine Chill. If you run all of those and you just always drop pallets safely and waste all of them, so the rest of your team has nothing, you'll make it out probably. Uh, and those perks will help you in other matches too, but they're boring as well. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to
Well,
run that all the time.
I've I've run Spine Chill and then like half of them have whispers too. So I'm like or Iron Will. So I'm like in a locker, like, okay, I know she's coming. I didn't run. I'm in the locker. I'm silent. Nope. Nope, still dead. That and I get mad because I can't play her because I can't hear shit.
Maybe sprint burst to gain more distance. Sprint burst can get you to a pallet to drop it early enough. But her haunting, she moves so fast that she will catch you with sprint burst if you just hold W to gain distance. Um,
Oh, artist, I'm so sorry. Artist played against 3 spirits last night
oh,
with Robin.
I just saw that. That's disgusting. That's rude. That should not be allowed.
Yeah. It's like they should have like a limit. Like, okay, each group, like you each person only gets like 2 spirit matches a night. You're done. If you're swift, maybe 3, but you know, otherwise you don't have to deal with that. Like just leave spirits out in the queue. That way their range will build over time. It'll match up with the lore, and then you get destroyed for 2 matches, you're done.
They weren't very good. That's good. I'm glad you managed to get out twice. Um, okay. So, I was thinking about this as far
Mhm.
as like a horror movie. What's a good way to kind of start it off? And I thought of two potential ways. One, we could have this setting being the uh the murder of Rin and her mother have just happened. We can
Mhm.
have like police investigating and shit, and then like turns out the place is fucking haunted. Um, or we can go with the trope of a couple moves into this new home that they're just stories about like a murder took place here in the 1970s. Everyone says it's haunted. No one lives here longer than 6 months. And they're like, it's so nice. It's so cheap. The location, it's perfect.
On it. We even
Um,
left all this antique mask shit that we could sell on eBay.
exactly. And if we went that route, I was like, Dwight and David getting their own place. They decided to move to Japan.
Okay, just hear me out. Dwight's never going to buy a haunted house.
No,
Ever.
there's always in the couple. There's always the one who's like, absolutely not, and the other one being like, but look at how much it costs. Look at this original crown molding.
David doesn't give a
I
shit
know.
about crown molding.
There's no crown molding in it. It's Japanese. Gay ghost shit. Adam moves in for the aesthetic.
I was thinking it would be another haunted like house type of thing, just because it's like so much acreage out there.
Oh, like what we did with Crotus Pren.
Yeah,
Ooh, interesting.
like nobody bought the thing. because I mean, when you're at the map, like it looks like it's aged a little bit because there's stuff growing in it. So nobody's touched
True.
it. There's still glass lying all over the damn place. Somebody's ransacked it, obviously, but it doesn't look like anybody lived there. So they might be just like, okay, so let's go check this place out because it has been in ruin for years, but for some reason, all the candles are still lit around these fucking places.
Ooh.
These masks all have the fucking shrines are still set up and are the only thing in this entire place that's been dusted and taken care of.
I was about to say Elodie's the one taking care of it, but she would probably actually pilfer it for that one guy that
Oh
she
yeah.
works for. So I don't think Elodie's been there before, otherwise shit would be missing.
Yeah. Or she
Felix.
would or she would be the first one to go missing.
Yes. And
And all the shit got put right back.
artist acres is a way to measure the size of land. Um Felix could be getting a job to like renovate it.
I'm gonna do some sexy architecture.
Yeah. Be like, hey, we want to rebuild this home, but we still want to keep the style of it 'cause it's an iconic place.
Felix Richter, sex architect.
Claude tending to the trees.
Yeah, David's like, I really want to buy this place, but my boyfriend thinks it's haunted. Could you make it look a little sexier? And Felix is like, oh, I got you.
Yes.
It's being renovated for their pad.
You don't know Elodie's story? Elodie traveled around and found weird historical artifacts that some guy sent her out to go find. And she'd sell it, she'd get them for him, she'd get paid. And then in the Parisian catacombs, she got kidnapped by a cult. And then she managed to break free from them, and then the entity took her anyway. That's the short notes. um, no, that could be really fun. So we have David and Dwight looking to buy. Dwight's really apprehensive, and David's like, "Let me get it cleaned up for you first."
Hmm.
Hires Felix for a renovation, Claudette for landscaping. Do we need anybody else?
Hmm. Oh yeah.
You're the one who's bought a home. What else? What else is required?
you, we did not buy a home in the way that most people would, and we really should have. But then again, that would mean that our house would be the most likely to be haunted because we don't goofed.
Adam can be the
But
next door neighbor. I like that.
Ace convinced him that he's there for something, but nobody
Oh,
really knows why.
that's actually really funny.
Ash is there for ghost busting because they've heard that it's like really haunted, and they heard that he takes care of really haunted shit.
No, hold on, hold on. They hired Ash, and they got Ace also. That's a tag along. They're just I just like imagining they're just like this weird uncle duo type.
Yeah,
Meg is there because she's trying to run around the whole world.
yeah. Meg's been using the outskirts of it as her running track for ages. And Spirit's just been like waiting patiently for her to finally cross the threshold.
Ooh.
It's like one of these days that bitch is gonna slip.
Let me pull up the survivor list.
Jake's been living out there on the land
Yes!
for years.
Jake's been squatting on the property this whole time. Nia breaks in sometimes to tag it.
But she never touches the Oni stuff.
No, she's not disrespectful.
She's got that much going for her. She's not gonna tag the important stuff.
Yeah.
Jane might be doing a story on it, like, oh yeah, this has been purchased and is getting renovated.
Ooh.
We'll get the scoop on it. Which
Well,
like brings in
so
half of the people that are like, okay, It's going to be redone. We need to get in there and get whatever we want from it right now.
So if we, I mean, we could potentially do it where we have like that original group of people who are just trying to like renovate the home and
Mhm.
make it less haunted. Um, get destroyed. And at that point, like one of them makes it out. It's just like it's so haunted, everybody died. Um and at that point the cops get called. We get Jane coming in with like a whole like news crew shit. Jane is what Zarina artist says, which I'm cool with that. Um Cheryl can be a paranormal investigator. How funny would that be?
Thought. All of those people show up to take care of the house, and everybody in that group dies, but
But
he's not
Ace.
going to get paid if he doesn't tell them that the problem has been taken care of. So Dwight and David show up to this house expecting all the work to be done, and it's not.
But Ace already got paid and he's
He's got
gone.
paid. He's out of there.
I love it. All right, let's. What was that list again? We had Felix.
Felix, our architect. Claudette was the landscaper.
Yeah, Jake was living off the land, just unfortunately there.
Nia was
Ash.
tagging. Ash was the Ghostbuster.
All right.
Yeah.
I
I feel
can
like
type.
Nia dies so often from graffiti.
She does.
But I feel like also if she got busted and somebody was going to come kill her, she would also continue to graffiti to her last dying breath while she's just flipping them off.
she
Like,
managed. She managed with like her last few moments to just do a really rough like graffiti of like Rin's spirit just on the wall.
Spirit comes up to Mori her and she's on the ground. The last thing that goes off of her body is her arm that's still spray painting the wall.
Oh, what if it's okay? So it was like a Roanoke thing. The last thing, like everybody's dying, and then Nia's just like on a wall, just spray painting Yamaoka. Very corny. um. All right. So, oh, and I added Make to the list because she was jogging nearby.
Her foot finally slipped. I was imagining this her foot crossing the line and then just the body just going and just gone.
Yamaoka. Okay. So Ace just takes his money and runs. Um. We may never see him again, right?
Our last survivor.
Hey. First dead. It's all of them, right? Just
Yeah.
that was easy and fast. So
Yeah.
David and Dwight show up on the property expecting things to look good, and
Yeah.
instead they find bodies.
Yeah. And Dwight's like, I thought you said
And
you were gonna make this less haunted.
there's more ghosts than what we started with. They call the cops. I believe they would probably accuse Ace of murdering everybody.
Oh yeah, because he's the only one that's not there anymore. Everybody else is
Easily.
identified.
Artist wants to know for an agreement that Yunjin will survive against Trickster, and I think so, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, so they call the cops. Uh, that's Tap, Jill, and Leon show up,
Mhm.
and they're just like, it was this guy that we hired. forgot his name
Yeah.
because they were working with Ash, and Ace just showed up with him. Uh, they're like
It's like,
he.
yeah, it was middle-aged guy with a hat and glasses, smelled like cigarettes and porn.
He had a weird like thing, and he liked to use finger guns a lot. When we asked him if the ghost would be taken care of, he was like, "You betcha." um, so
Just showed up with a vacuum. Said it was said it was the Ghostbuster.
it was this is my ectoplasm collector.
It's the Dirt Devil.
um, so they're gonna go off that minor description, try to figure out where this guy went. At which point we could have Jane and Zarina from
Mhm.
a news standpoint. And I forgot about this. Nancy's actually wants to be an investigative journalist.
Is she an intern now?
That's what I was about to say. She can intern for Jane and Zarina. We can embrace that part of her.
Nice. That way
Yeah.
she's not just dying to banging Steve all the time.
Yeah. So we could stick her with the ladies. Did we want to say Adam lived next door?
That would make sense.
Because then either the ladies or the cops could go and talk to Adam and be like,
Hmm.
"Hey, did you see anything? What do you know about this place?"
Like, did you happen to see this guy?
Yeah.
Hey, he's rummaging through my garbage cans last night. A
Yeah,
middle-aged,
he came
like a
over
middle-aged
yesterday.
raccoon.
He came over out yesterday, asked first if I had any beers, and I said no, and then I just saw him digging through the garbage can afterwards.
He plugged in this random vacuum, realized it didn't reach across the border, and it's still there if you want to look at it.
They take the vacuum away for fingerprints.
That's how Ace survived, just because he was trying to plug in the vacuum cleaner and bring it over to the estate because they didn't have electric.
Yeah. And by the time he came back, everybody was dead, and he was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah,
my
and he just turned
paycheck."
around and left.
Oh, okay. So I think the cops would probably go to the neighbor first.
Yeah.
Collect that vacuum. They're gonna go off and do cop shit.
Yeah.
I think they're safe for now. That's a damn double homicide. um, the journalist ladies, Jane, Nancy, and Zarina, they could go and try to get on the property, do
What if
their own research.
they went to the property and then they also brought the paranormal people just to have like the professionals.
Ooh.
So
So
they got two different people. So they got Cheryl and they got Elodie.
yes.
Just bringing
Cheryl
them both up. Like, what do you think happened here?
Cheryl is there because she'd be like the type of medium who's just like, there's an evil spirit here. I can sense their intentions. They're very angry.
Yeah.
And then Elegy's just like, I know that mask. I saw it in a book. That's probably worth $800. No, no, sorry, she's French. Euros. Um, let's see. Yeah, so they can go around, look at the house. Spirit can show up and kill one of them, or two of them, or three of them. Anyone we'd like to go ahead and clear from the board?
Hmm.
I feel like we should maintain at least one of the journalist ladies
Yeah.
and at least one of the paranormal ladies. Artist votes Elodie and Nancy.
As the ones that make it or the ones that get picked off?
They get picked off. But I would like Elodie to live longer than
Say, I
that.
was gonna say, interesting. Show your work. um.
Ufuf also says Elodie and Nancy. Guys, I'm a
Wow.
Nancy main.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like Cheryl, if she saw this shit happening, would be like, "Well, I've seen this shit before. Let's leave."
But she could
So,
get stopped on her way out.
yeah, that's true. But she probably also knows to run in zigzags. Cheryl's whole life is spine chill.
Um, Jane. So I feel like of the three journalist ladies who have the most ambition, well, they're but all very ambitious. I could see Zarina definitely being one to be like not scared, digging deeper.
Mhm.
Um, so I would like Zarina to definitely make it out of this.
I was gonna say, let's put this on the board. Who's going to touch Oni's shit?
Elodie.
So Elodie has to go. Because that's not gonna fly. There's no way she's gonna touch that shit and Spirit's gonna let her leave.
That's fair.
That is going to be the tunnel of a lifetime. The others might even make it out because of that tunnel, but
Let's see. Artist wants Zarina, Cheryl, excuse me, and Jane to live.
I could also see Nancy touching it too. Like if they were split off into groups, like each person gets a representative. So one person goes with Cheryl, one person goes with Elodie, and then somebody gets the intern. I could see Nancy like getting a little bit too close, like or sneezing and blowing out a candle on accident.
I could definitely see Elodie picking up the mask and being like, "Oh, this is really cool. Come look at this." And Nancy being like, "That is really cool." And being just as curious. So yeah, okay, it's been
I mean,
justified.
I mean
Elodie.
the professional picked it up. It's safe, right?
Elodie and Nancy touch Oni's shit and die. And then Nancy would like bump into it for now. Elodie and Nancy, and then Jane, Zarina, and Cheryl. What? Hold on. I need more sentences than that artist. Um, so Zarina, Cheryl, and Jane are alive, but they probably hear the screams of Nancy and Elodie being murdered in another room. You're
Leave the
muted.
intern
Oh no,
alone.
you're not muted anymore. What now?
They wouldn't just leave the intern alone, so I figure Zarina or Jane would be with her.
That's fair.
I mean, they can probably like get out because well, they touched the shit, but they didn't. There could even be like Zarina's like, "Don't touch that shit. This is investigative journalism, you dumbasses." And then like Spirit just comes out of left field and kills him, and she's just fucking running away like I fucking told him. I fucking told him not to touch it, and they fucking touched it anyway.
That's fair. So she runs, grabs Cheryl and Jane, and is like, "We gotta get out of here."
Yeah.
They run out, and then Elodie pulls a Brenda Meeks. Damn, bitch! It would have just been you.
They,
Um,
they go over to Adam's house because they need
it's
help like right now.
it's the safest place.
Adam's just out there making cocoa for everybody, being the dad.
He's got his sweater vest like tied around his shoulders and everything. Just got back from a day at school.
Don't worry, guys. I'll make you a hot beverage.
We don't speak of that movie artist.
I hear screams over there all the time. It's okay.
They're like, "What?" Uh,
Like Adam survived just because he's heard the screaming over there. He knows better.
he knows not to go.
He's the one person that's like, guys, don't do it. Don't go over there. Just don't do it.
I think they would probably call the cops again, maybe,
Hmm.
and give them an update of saying, hey, well, Zarina would be like, hey, I saw my friends get murdered. And
Yeah.
they're like, ah, Ace is back. And she's
Oh
like,
God.
no, it's it's a ghost. And then they're cops, and they're just like, no.
There no ghosts. And they're like, "Can you at least give us a description?" And they clearly describe a female ghost, and they're like, "All right, he has an accomplice." Ace is
um,
like fucking on a plane, heading out to some nice,
Ace is on his way to like Italy or some shit.
or knowing Ace, he's on his way to Las Vegas.
He's somewhere.
He hopped a plane from Japan to Vegas. He's gone to his happy place.
Jeff just lives because he's too busy at the bar. Fucking on a plane. Ace is fucking on a plane or fucking on a plane. Yes.
All of the above.
Have fun with your dailies, Titan. I hope you get them done quick. Who do we have left alive?
We still haven't defined where Yunjin is, or Kate, Steve, Yui,
Bill, Fong, Quentin.
Lori.
Steve's gonna show up because he hasn't heard from his girlfriend in a few days after she dies.
Yeah. I can see him like
He's that guy.
she, she went out and got a job and she dumped him for this creepy fucker, and like he's dating Lori now,
Uh, hold on.
and
I was about
Lori
to say
does not
we.
like
I was about
him.
to say in this house we pretend Jonathan doesn't exist. But but I do. Uh, Quentin should live in honor of his upcoming facelift.
Yeah,
uh,
it's just the end. She goes to kill him, and it's like Beauty and the Beast, where he just gets raised into the air and just filled with lights, and then his face is not ugly anymore.
the most
It's
perfect
just
Deus Ex Machina.
yeah.
Steve brings Lori and Quentin with him. Oh, that's true. We do have that group of friends that we always talk about. No, that would be that's just really funny. Steve and Nancy broke up. She went off, dated some creepy guy. Steve still cares about her, and he knows that she was going to Japan. She hasn't.
Friends with Cheryl still, since she's in that group all the time, so he has a
That's
reason to go.
true.
He's like, no, 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 I'm not worried about Nancy. I'm worried about Cheryl.
Yes. Even though he's just like, oh shit, Nancy hasn't posted on TikTok in like a week.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. Fung and Adam Def have a good relationship where he teaches her math or something and Fen teaches him video game lore. I do like
She's
that
tr-
idea of Feng just hanging out with Adam playing games with him, and that's how she just
he's
like ends up there.
he's trying to like get like understand these students more, so he hired Fung to teach him how to be hip, how to be
How to
cool.
play Fortnite. She's a professional that exists. There are professional Fortnite tutors.
There are.
There are, because there was like this whole motion of like kids getting bullied because they weren't good at Fortnite. So then a bunch of like middle class moms were just like, I don't want my child to get bullied. And so they just hired tutors to teach their kid how to play Fortnite.
Then there's coaches all over the place, since it's esports now, and a bunch of
That's
kids are
true.
like, I want to grow up to be a professional esport player, and they're like, well, I guess we better start now. Let's get little Jimmy started going on the mid lane on the Rift here.
But Adam hires Fung
My
just
son would
because
never play support.
my son is a tank and you will treat him as nothing less.
Listen, the life of an assassin is very glorious. That's why I know you want to be a fighter or a mage, but listen, you're not going to get famous from playing any of that shit. I've been watching Twitch for like 2 hours straight. I know.
Sponsors don't want support, plain and simple.
Uh,
You don't need G
Sassy
Fuel
Sugar.
to hit an E button. Um,
Listen, I have been watching Tyler One, and there's a reason why he's doing his from the bottom all the way up to Challenger, and there's a reason why he hasn't done support yet. It's because nobody cares.
imagine some type of cook killer. That would be cool. But we ignore Bubba. Yeah. I say technically Bubba, yeah, Bubba does cook, doesn't he? That chili. You feel like Gatorade would sponsor support players? Powerade might.
Maybe a Band-Aid company. Because just the
What's
whole you can't heal stupid, but you can put a Band-Aid on the ouchie.
what's that streaming service that has all of the like college classes and shit? Where they're like, you can learn about anything for $10 a month. It's that. Say a Powerade is a ripoff Gatorade. That was my joke as well, artist.
For any
Um,
support players that are watching, I love you. I've been there.
Zen is a support
I
player,
love
which
you.
is why we are so comfortable ripping on support players.
Because I've been there. I know the shit that gets shoveled on a support player. When you're watching your ADC tower dive at level 1 and then go, what the fuck, why didn't you heal me? And it's like, listen, I have a W on Soraka that can heal you one time every like 7 seconds, but you stayed under there until you died.
Oh, there's a lot of support players in the chat tonight.
I love you. I love all of you.
Usually snipes are your safer. I like in my head I want to say I like sniping. But I'm better at tanking naturally. That's where my
Just play
skills
a
lie.
tank in League.
What?
When we played League, you weren't even playing tanks.
I know.
You were playing Twitch. You're playing like an ADC.
I
You
know.
played Vigors, the mage.
I know. Branching out. But anytime I played like shit like that Star Wars game, I played that all with my friends, I was always tanking. Thus a
I usually
huntress
will
main.
play the long range person or support, or in the case of League of Legends, I was playing support and jungle. I was like, I just want my Q times to be as fast as they can possibly be, and nobody wants either of those roles. So I did it. Flashbacks. That's why when I was playing League and I had a channel points option to turn on all chat instead of having it muted.
Ugh.
I was like, all right, guys, if you want to make my entire game suck, we'll turn on all chat.
I my favorite comment to leave whenever I see anybody on TikTok say anything about Dead by Daylight having the most toxic community. First of all, Slim Anaconda, I was talking to him the other day. He's been playing a lot more League, Valorant, and Brawlhalla, and he says of the three, Brawlhalla is infinitely worse, even than League. He says it's bad. But my favorite comeback anytime people say that is you've never or I was like, tell me you've never played League without telling me you've never played League.
Because you played for such a short time and you were only playing bots there for a while. Like, there's no reason for that kind of flame to
I
happen.
know.
But they were lighting your ass up. It's
They
like, guys,
were.
it's beginner bots. Like, calm down. We're not gonna lose to them. They're dying to towers.
Mercy may
And
have the
half the
ability.
time, one of the bots would AFK in the fountain. It's like, we're fine, guys. Jesus.
Mercy may have the ability to fly to the back line and heal a flank, but this big buff Reinhardt and DVA are keeping me safe and taking hits, so I'm not dying for you to deal 50 more junk damage that doesn't kill anyone. I feel you, and on a surface level, I understand that. but deeply I am confused. Not even close to being as toxic as the lead. Not at all. And the thing that I notice a lot of players call toxic is the other side just playing the game,
Oh my god,
which is
Alex.
so funny.
Alex had a hotkey. Like he would hit a button and it would put a smiley face in the all chat. And every time he would kill somebody, he would just hit that button because it's not a reportable offense to put a smiley face in a chat, but it tilted every single person that like saw it. It just like the entire game just rotated.
Oh
And then there
man.
was one time I was watching him play and he was trying to learn how to play jungle and I was like, dude, I've been researching this forever. Let me tell you how to play this game. So he's like he's playing jungle and he killed the top laner. I'm like, don't leave. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go back to jungle. I'm like, no, 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 no. You stay right there in that bush. You just wait. You just wait. And the guy comes back and I'm like, kill him again. He will DC, I promise you. And he did it, instant DC. And I'm like, all right, go back to your business. He's like, how the fuck did you know? I'm like, because there's just the way that he was acting, like he was pausing, like he was typing. And I'm like, if he's taken this much time to type and flame to his team, but not in all chat, fucker's gonna DC the moment you kill him twice. And he fucking did. I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
That's
He's like,
amazing.
why don't you play jungle more? I'm like, because I have anxiety.
Never play League YouTube insured. I won't ever do that. My mental health thanks you. You can mute chat so that nobody ever hears. You don't have to see
Yeah.
shit. They have a ping system that I've never figured out how to do. That helps you with any sort of actual game communication. So you don't have to chat with anybody if you ever want to play.
We also
Um
ought to have like a really chill team one day.
hmm?
We ought to just start a team and just be like the most chill team on earth.
Yeah. I'd be cool to play it again. I just need to like learn it. Like I really struggled picking up everything on it.
It takes time.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So Zarina, Cheryl, and Jane are at Adam's place. Fung's there just playing some games. She was giving him a lesson. He's obviously taking a break to make the ladies some hot cocoa. They've called the police. Jill, Leon, Tap are there again. Um they're describing what happened, that a ghost just murdered uh Elodie and Nancy, and they're just like, what do you mean a ghost? Ghosts aren't real. What really happened is that guy back, and they're like, no, it was this lady. They gave it a description. The fuck are cops gonna do with that? Like, are they just gonna be like, we need to bring you in for further questioning, Zarina, because you were with them? Or like
They're just gonna take everybody in. Except for Adam and Fung, because they're just like they're minding their own business.
yes.
And eventually they just let everybody go because they took their stuff.
They got all their
And
information.
I feel like Adam's just the informer at this point. Like Adam's like, okay, there's this fucking guy going through my trash and trying to run a dirt devil outside. Hey, so these people came here, they're crying. I made them cocoa. They said a bunch of people died.
Um I don't I I don't want to paint Steve as a stalker. But what if Nancy had like her Snapchat locations thing on her
Mhm.
phone, so that's how he knows where she's at, or at least like where her body was left. Like maybe she dropped her phone in there when she was getting murdered.
I mean, if Cheryl's part of that little friend group,
Oh yeah,
so
she's right.
you'd know when
Steve
somebody
doesn't have to be a
breaks up.
stalker. You're right. You're right.
You know when like a person breaks up and there's like two people dating in the same group, everybody knows what's going on because both people are texting everybody. That's just how it is.
And Cheryl, yes. So Cheryl tells the in the group chat Nancy got murked.
Yeah.
And so Quentin, Steve, and Lori hop a plane to Japan.
My God, can you imagine like Kate and her gang are getting ready to go to Japan for a show and they like stop and are like, "Hey, can we help you carry this stuff?" And Yunjin's like, "I can only pay you $5." You're like, "Done." And she's like, "I think we can hire these people. $5 a gig. That's all I can give you."
I know how we get Jeff there. Jeff has that actual job. That's a job. That's a real job. What's it fucking called? Where you move the music equipment.
A roadie? Is
Yes.
it a roadie?
Jeff's a roadie for Kate.
I can see that.
It seems so fitting. I love it.
Okay, so
Nancy
we
just got
have
murked by a hot ghost. That's exactly what the text said.
just an emoji next to it.
No one blames you for telling the truth about Steve. Shh. We're just Steve's not really a stalker anymore. We've created an alternate world where he just is always asking his friends via text what she's doing.
It's like, not that I care, but
there's one group chat that has Quentin, Nancy, Steve, Cheryl, and Lori. But then there's also another group chat that's just Quentin, Steve, and Cheryl. Because Steve's dating Lori, he doesn't want Lori to know that he's still asking about Nancy, but also Nancy can't know that like he's asking about her.
yeah.
So, the drama.
Mhm. The teen drama.
Um,
Bill's like already on his way over there because his granddaughter hasn't returned his text in a day, and that never happens.
oh yeah.
Like literally, he would be like, "How you doing, Meg? Running Gramps." Next day, "How you doing, Meg? Running Gramps." Like that's just every day the same text. And this day he got no response. He's on his way.
We've created a world artist where Meg is Bill's granddaughter. It happened with I think the Billy episode.
Mhm.
Um, but that's a thing that we have accepted into canon. Also, the other thing that we have in our canon world is Yunjin is Kate's manager.
And Yui and Yunjin hate each other.
Yes. But we're on episode 11. Uh and at some point I would like to root for an enemies to lover storyline there. Um It'll happen eventually.
Sure.
I love it, Titan. Thank you. Um okay, so Kate, Yunjin, Jeff, Steve, Quentin, and Lori are all in the same plane on their way to Japan. Uh
He's already there, just street racing.
yes, easily. Uh Bill's going out to find his granddaughter. Maybe goes to the police for a missing persons report
Hmm.
and be like, she always likes to run in this area. And they're like, that's where the murders were. And he's like, the what? And they're like, oh.
Like, hi. So while you're here, could you identify a body?
Bill. Oh, that's sad. But yes.
They're literally just pulling out just the rows. Like, is it this one? Nope. This one? Nope. This one? Nope. This one? My granddaughter.
No. He just slumps to the ground like the end of Left 4 Dead.
But then his cigarette glows brighter as he thinks about revenge.
Bill goes on a private investigator route to find Ace.
God, what if he hears that it's ghosts, so he tries to hire a professional, and he calls Ash. He gets
And gets Ace? No. Oh my god. Bill does a supernatural and brings a shotgun full of rock salt to take that bitch out for good. I kind of love that actually. We might steal that Titan.
yeah.
I feel like Yui and Feng would be the best of friends. Enemies to lovers, Susie and Cheryl are like in love. And then Frank or Joey kills Cheryl because she gets in the way and Susie turns on Legion. Please write the fanfiction now, artist. We will all read it. That sounds amazing.
It really does.
Um okay, okay. Let me get this straight. Okay, so we got a bunch of them coming into Japan.
Hmm.
Bill didn't hear from his granddaughter, goes to file a missing persons report and says like that she always likes to run at this place every day. And the police are like, "Do you want to identify a body?" And he's like, "Not really, but sure." Um, finds out it's Meg, and uh, I guess he can find out that they're like looking for a guy because he'd probably be like, "Any suspects?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, we got this one guy that we're looking for, but nobody's seen him
I
since
could
the
see
event."
like Leon and Jill are like, unfortunately, we can't comment on this, but since Tap isn't technically on the force, he's just a private detective. He's like, look, I got some info for you, buddy.
Yes, that's what it could be. So Tap gives him the details, and
Oh my god, are Bill and Tap gonna join forces?
I love it.
And then they make it and they live happily ever after.
I love it.
I could totally ship Bill and Tap.
That's
100%.
interesting, but yeah, I'm with you. Like I would
They look
not ship it.
Yeah, they look good together.
That could be a
I'm just
thing.
like I'm just like looking at them diagonally and I'm like, "Oh
Oh
yeah."
my god, what if I made it in The Sims?
You need to do that on Wednesdays.
No, Wednesday. I gotta go back to the Horror Movie Challenge. It's been forever.
Yeah, but eventually you could do the Sims, but you can do all of our ships. That way we can see David and Dwight together, and then we can see Bill
In
and Tap together.
5 years. Who are we doing next? Please be Legion. It might be Legion. I gotta look at the list of order.
Whoever it is, remember I have to get a happy one.
Yeah.
I keep getting these ball busters, man.
um. Okay. So Tap. Okay. So Tap knows from Jane, Zarina, and Cheryl's encounter that they're saying it's a ghost.
Yeah.
But he's like, the cops don't believe that, obviously, because it's a ghost story. Like, that's not. They have a clear suspect, which is Ace. Which I love. I love this so much for Ace. Um, besides, what do you play as? I can, but I need to play that family to get through the challenge. Um, so they'll probably go talk to those three about the ghost thing. And maybe they can get on board with dividing up between figuring out like what the ghost was that murdered and also where Ace is.
Imagining they're like, okay, what did she sound like? And they make like the noise of her
Ah!
screaming, and they're like, wait a second, I know someone who's heard that shit before. And they call Yui. Like,
Yes.
what did the mask look like?
Yes. And this is how we bring Yui into it.
Just Yui just walks in like, yo, I kicked your grandpappy's ass. Come out.
See, I think if Rin didn't have the whole being able to travel through the ethereal plane, popping out of fucking nowhere and slicing with a katana, um, I think under normal circumstances, Yui could fight her body, but I think Yui would actually get taken out by Spirit just from how quick and just like you can't really predict what Spirit's doing. It's not really a hand to hand combat scenario.
Yeah.
I think Yui would get taken out by Spirit very quickly.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, so no, that was your point of hold on with why we needed them to figure out there was a ghost involved for them to call the Ghostbusters and get Ace. That's what I was trying to connect the dots to earlier. I kicked your grandpappy's ass years ago, and I'm ready for round two, bitch.
Yeah. Like when they make the sound, he's like, "Wait a second, I had somebody come to my house for cocoa before." Adam's just like everything that has happened in the Yamaoka estate. Adam's
Adam,
heard this shit go on.
he's
He's got like a directory of people that have come over for cocoa after something bad happened.
he's the historian trope
Yeah.
of this movie. So they call in Yui, and she's like, "Yeah, I fought the
The
Yamaokas."
we get the badass shot of her just like riding in on her motorcycle and skidding
The
across the
slow
gravel, pulling up to the door.
the slow motion of her taking her helmet off, whipping her hair out, stepping off of the bike, and just like helmet tucked under her arm,
A
shifting her goggles up.
slow pan from the rock hard abdomen.
Yes. There's a sunset behind her. Yui deserves nothing but the best cinematography in this.
I
Um,
can see like since everybody made it, like the Cade's van like drives by and ruins the shot, and Yui just turns around and gets like starts yelling. Yunjin's driving, and she's like, "Listen, if you didn't like it, get off the road, bitch." She's like, "I'm on property." Just the fighting starts immediately. Atmosphere ruined.
I love it. Um, so we haven't killed anybody in a long time.
I know,
Uh,
we've just been like building up everything.
I know. And then Yui kills Yunjin.
You know, I'm fine with this.
How? How does Yui kill Yunjin?
Yui's like, "Listen, I know for a fact that she can't go past this line. See, she's not doing anything. Fuck your grandpappy." And then just like shoves Yunjin in there and goes, "Whoops." Especially if she sees Yunjin about to do it to somebody else and she just does it for her
In the house or just onto the property?
onto the property. Like
Okay.
if they're out there like walking the property and Yui's like, "Okay, listen, I know for a fact that if you don't cross this property line, that nothing bad'll happen to you." And Yunjin is like mid push, getting ready to shove one of the younger ones across, and Yui just like swats her over, saving one of the young kids and
Probably
knocking
Quentin.
Yunjin in to prove a point.
Probably Quentin.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Quentin's already vibrating. He's had so much caffeine in him that like if she pokes him, he's just gonna jump across the line. So Yui kills her, but she did it for good.
They would all witness Yunjin dying though, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's horrifying. I think they would just get back on the bus.
And Yui's just sitting there flipping her off, and Spirit's just screaming at her.
At which point Iwi goes to fight Spirit and dies.
If she knows that if she can't cross the line, because otherwise she would have killed Adam a long time ago if she could get past it.
True.
So I think Yui's just sitting there, just flipping her the bird and describing everything. It's just pissing Spirit off more and more and more and more. And then she just like looks at her like, "Shut up! I kicked your grandpappy's ass." She's like, "Ah!"
Artist is adding in some spirit sounds to chat. Um okay. So Yunjin gets shoved onto the property by Yui, dies, and then we have Kate, Jeff,
All the
Steve.
teenagers are now on their phones, just live TikTok. They're all live.
I love it. Um I don't know who to kill next or how to kill next.
I think they're gonna want to try and actually like
Ghost Bust.
find a way to kill her. Like most of them are like, you know what? the smart thing to do would be just wall off this property, fill it with cement, call it a day. And Bill's like, no, no, I need revenge. And they're like, okay. So we can just let the old man cross the line and die, or because this is a horror movie, they're gonna help him.
Imagining cell phone hour from Be More Chill with all the teens on TikTok
Mm.
lines. Okay. They could call the Ghostbuster at that point, and Ace returns. Ace Visconti, number 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, he's already lost all of his money in Vegas.
He's actually holding on to Ash's phone. He's very sad about his best friend dying.
Mhm.
Um, that he's just keeping hold of that piece and it rings. And he's like, hello? And they're like, is this Ashley Williams? And he's just like, why, yes, it is. It's the best
Yeah, chainsaw,
fake
vroom
Tennessee
vroom.
accent. And they're like, we got a job for you in Japan. And he was like, I was just there last week. Uh, so Ace comes back out. Uh, David and Dwight are still like chilling at whatever hotel they've been staying at, waiting for the renovations to be done. Dwight's just like, we're not gonna move in there now. We're not. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think they'll live because I don't think they'll ever go back to it.
But yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
There's a for sale sign in the yard now.
um, but Ace shows up, does not know what he's doing. Um, but confidently tells them, yeah, I know how to get rid of the spirit. You just gotta get rid of all the stuff that she's haunting. We could have more people touch more Oni shit.
People that are definitely not going to buy this is probably going to be Adam.
Right.
He's probably going to tell Fung not to even,
Yeah,
like,
I was
don't
gonna
do
say
this.
he would make sure Fung doesn't.
He's just going to be like, listen, guys, this has happened so many times before.
Lori would.
Yeah, the teenager group is just like, we need to go back and do this for Nancy. Tap has called Leon and Jill, and they're like, legit, we got it on the phone.
I I would say Bill and Tap would actually go touch shit. Because
Oh
they'd be
yeah.
like, we hired the guy, we trust him.
Hmm.
We didn't pay you for being stupid.
Yeah, they look like he calls up Jill and Leon to let them know, like, hey, this is what's about to happen. Or like, don't go in there, it's a crime scene. And he's like, I'm not a cop anymore. I don't play by your rules.
It's just this whole dramatic moment. I love that. So
He's posturing, and Bill's just sitting there like, oh yeah.
so Lori, Clinton, Steve, Cheryl, Bill, Tap.
Yeah, he's
And
like, you guys need to go get this shit and bring it off the property.
then we'll
And I
salt
and
and
bring
burn it.
it back to me off site so that I can purge the spirit from it.
Yes.
And he's legit just like making marshmallows in Adam's like backyard or something.
Kate and Jeff are probably with Adam.
Hmm.
Do we want to bring Jane and Zarina back into the mix at all?
Really go back though.
I don't think they would.
He just lost an intern.
Yeah.
Nobody
I think they lived
nobody
out their
gives
story.
they don't give a shit about the intern. They're like,
I
"Oh no. We lost another intern. Damn.
This is the third one to a haunting too.
Thank God we don't have to pay them and they have to fill out a waiver saying that they can't sue us." Ah, ah, ah.
Okay. So they had their whole thing of like Nancy and Lodi dying and we never saw them again. Cool.
Okay, so officially for survivors, Dwight and David make it because they don't go back. And Zarina and Jane They just don't go back.
Yeah, that's the key. I feel like Adam should honestly
Adam
live as the historian. Like,
Adam never went to begin with. He was smart enough not to.
um, oh yeah, and Fung.
unless
But
unless Fung
unless
goes anyway.
yeah, unless like she's leaving Adam's place and she just happens to be like, it's just a shortcut to walk through here, I'll be fine.
Mhm. Fung.
I think we should do that.
Mhm.
Artist hates it, but at some point you gotta rip apart the souls of your
Mhm.
audience. You gotta really make them feel that the killer is a true threat to even the ones they love. And she would
I
definitely
have
take a shortcut.
By the way, I 100% have the ending for this thing planned out, so
Oh, okay, okay. Um, do we want to go ahead and just get flung out of here, taking a shortcut on our way home? Does that help set up your ending?
I only need one person alive for this ending to happen, and we
Oh,
have already agreed.
okay.
Okay. So we need to get Leon and Jill back in here.
Okay.
Yunjin's dead, Elodie's dead, Felix is dead. Cheryl is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Serena's not coming back. Yui is still around. Steve just died. Nancy's dead. Ash is dead. Jane left. Jeff.
Is with Kate with Adam.
Okay. Adam's gonna make it. Kate's hanging out with Adam. Tap's gonna die in this one. Quentin's gonna die in this one. David is not coming back. Fung just died. Bill died. Ace is making
Ace is
marshmallows.
still alive, but a fugitive.
Yeah. See, Lori just died. Nia's dead. Jake's dead. Claudette's dead. Meg's dead. Dwight's dead. Okay. So all these people just died. So at that point, I feel like Jill and Leon would come tearing ass over and would see Ace in the driveway, and Ace has no idea that he's wanted because he just pieced out.
Mm-hmm.
And they might like drag him onto the crime scene to be like, you need to show us what you did. And Ace is just like, let me out, let me out, let
And Spirit kills all three of them.
me out. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Question here is, are all of the people remaining smart enough to just not go back?
Kate's not, but I don't. I don't know. I would say I don't think. I think Adam would warn her, like, "Hey, don't step onto the property." But I think she'd also have a hard time understanding the property line.
She's like, I gotta go back. I gotta go grab Yunjin. She was my manager. And he's like, listen, I'll take care of everything. I just need you to get on the bus and you go. I will call you as soon as they have the body in. Like, he's taken her, putting her into the spirit death directory. It's like, listen, I will let you know as soon as the body is available. The police are here all the time. And then, as soon as she's available for you to have take her remains back home or have a funeral here, I'll let you know. Like, he's like just trying to like comfort her and get her to fucking leave.
And Jeff can drive the bus.
But Jeff has to take a pee first because it would not be a dead talk without our embarrassing bathroom death.
Jeffrey. Artist is still trying to fight for Fung's life. So here's the thing. So yes, I think okay. So artist says, I feel like Fung would survive because Adam would tell her to never set foot there, and Adam's like a father figure to her. I could see that. But I could also see her still being like, it's fine. I'll just take a quick shortcut. Just cut through here real fast. I'll never get caught.
Mhm.
She dies. He could hear her screams. No, she's dead. And now he's just like, I gotta make sure Kate gets back to that bus. Literally walks her to it and walks home.
And Jeff's like, I gotta pee. Can I use your bathroom? He's like, sure. He's like, you know what? It's faster just pee out here. And he's like, don't cross the property line. And Jeff gets like toes to the property line and whips it
it,
out, and his peen crosses the property
it's just
line.
too big.
At which point, Spirit hacks it off, and he bleeds
Oh my
out from his
god.
peen. Embarrassing bathroom death complete.
What's that surgery called when you get it removed?
I know this.
I know it too. Anyway.
I
Uh,
mean, there is a head. It could just be decapitation. uh,
I like saying massive schlong better. Everybody else lives?
yeah, I think everybody else should go. Like Adam's just loading everybody else up on the bus and getting them to leave and letting them know like he took everybody's information. He'll let them know as soon as he's got more.
Every endowed viewer just shuddered in solidarity. Yeah, my apologies. All right. Zarina
So,
drives the bus away because from our past episodes, she just like knows how to drive a bus.
yeah.
All
So
right.
everybody leaves the property that was left over except for Adam. Adam's sitting in his driveway. He's waving goodbye as the bus, the back of the bus disappears in the distance. He goes back into his house. He prepares a nice cup of cocoa and he walks out to the line of the property and he sets the cup down, takes a stick, and shoves it gently over to the other side so that Spirit can have her hot cocoa too.
Cut to credits.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's literally
Oh,
just the as the shoving the cocoa across the line and then just the flickering of the hand and then it just vanishes.
love that. And yes, that is true Titan. All right. So recap. We got
Okay.
distracted a lot in the middle. So
I know.
if you need help reconstructing this at all,
Then we did not put nearly as much description into these as we did before.
yeah,
Um okay, so everybody we're going to the Yamaoka family residence, which has just been purchased by newlyweds Dwight and David. And David got a really fucking good deal on this, and Dwight's like, it looks creepy as fuck. And David's like, don't worry, I'll hire some people. They're gonna modernize it, it won't be creepy as fuck anymore, I promise. So they hire sex architect Felix Richter,
sex architect.
uh Claudette to do landscaping. Jake was squatting on the property, nobody knew, he wasn't bothering anybody. Just in case, they hired a Ghostbuster, which was Ash and Ace. Ace was just coming with him. And then, unbeknownst to everybody else, Nia was actively graffitiing the site, and Meg jogged around the property line on a regular basis while she was there. So now that all these people have shown up on the property, Spirit's like, fuck this noise, and goes ahead and just starts killing everybody. Um, kills Nia, who's tagging it with Yamaoka. And he goes, Yamaoka. Last thing to go down is her hand, which is still clutching the spray paint. Um, Ace survives this because he went to the next door neighbor Adam's house he has a ghost busting machine. It's a dirt devil with a peeling label on it. And he asked him originally for some stuff, and Adam's like, "Look, I don't have anything for you." And he's like, "Okay." So he starts rummaging through his garbage can and tries to plug in the dirt devil and bring it onto the property, but it's not long enough. So he just leaves the dirt devil, realizes, oh shit, everybody's dead. So he calls up Dwight and Dave and goes, "Yeah, everything's done," and takes the money and he pieces out. So the police come and there's just dead bodies everywhere. So they're taking the dead bodies out. There's a news crew here on site that's trying to figure out what happened. And they sneak in there, which is Zarina, Jane, and then Nancy is their intern. And they brought paranormal professionals, Elodie and Cheryl. Now Elodie is with them and sees Oni's shit and is like, "Oh my god, look at this. Let's pick it up and take a look at this." So she picks it up and the intern's like, "Oh, well, the professional's touching it, so I can touch it." So she picks it, like she starts touching it too. Spirit just goes ahead and fucking murders all of them. All of them being Elodie and Nancy. The other ones are like, "Fuck." And they run to the neighbor's house. Adam's just like, "Oh, fuck, more of them." So he opens the door, he makes them a hot beverage, and calls the police to report the next round of deaths. Um, and so they're describing what they've seen, and um, meanwhile, while they're talking to Adam, the group of teenagers is that was friends with Nancy and Cheryl. They've been all chatting in different group chats because Steve and Nancy broke up. So obviously, there's like faction groups of group texts, and Cheryl was finally like, "Hey guys, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Nancy got killed by a hot ghost," with a couple of emojis. And so they decided to come over to the US, or not the US, to Japan from the US. And then Kate is going to go on tour in Japan with Yunjin, and Jeff is their roadie. So they're all going over there, and they cross over, and then Bill also comes over because his granddaughter didn't answer his text messages, so he's suspicious because this is not normal. He goes to the police station and like, "Hey, do you think you could identify a body? Because there's been some murders." And yeah, the body was definitely there. So Bill is out for revenge. So meanwhile, back at the other place, oh wait, first Tap, like he asked for information on the suspect, and uh, Leon and Jill refuse to say anything because, you know, it's a police investigation. But Tap has quit the force. Like, well, he got fired technically, but he's been around still. So he's like, "Yo, I got information for you." And so Bill and Tap decide that they're going to team up because they're totally adorable. And so everybody starts heading over to Adam's house because that's the place to be. And while Adam is listening to all this like description, they were describing the scream that Spirit made, and he was like, "You know what? That sounds familiar." So he dials up Yui, and Yui decides to go ahead and come in. And she does this cinematic drive up, motorcycle skidding across the gravel. It's kicking up everywhere, and she gets off of the motorcycle. It starts this pan up from the rock hard washboard abs and her taking her helmet off and shaking out the hair. And Kate's bus drives up and fucking ruins the shot. And Yui and Yunjin start arguing immediately. So anyway, everybody's hanging out, everybody's talking about this stuff, and they decide that they're going to call a Ghostbuster. And Ace still has Ash's phone. He had pieced out, he had spent all of the money already. So when the phone rings, he picks up and he's on his way. So while they're waiting for that guy to show up, Yui is literally telling everybody, "Listen, if you cross this property line, you're fucked." And Yunjin's like, "Ah, really?" And gets ready to go and like poke Quentin because he's all jittery to try and push him over the line. So Yui just shoves her preemptively and saves Quentin's life. And Yunjin gets absolutely demolished by the spirit, and all of the teenagers have their phones out and they're live streaming on TikTok. So, you know, the secret's out. Anyway, so Ace shows up and he's like, okay, all we need to do is get Oni's shit off of the property, and you guys bring it to me while I am out here working on the proper ritual required to burn it. He's actually just fucking making marshmallows in Adam's backyard. Um, so they're like, okay, let's do this. And Tap calls up the other two cops, Leon and Jill, to let them know that they're getting ready to do this. And they're like, dude, don't go on there. It's an active crime scene. And he's like, I'm not bound by your rules anymore. And he goes off. So the people that ended up going was Lori, Quentin, Steve, Cheryl, Bill, Tap, all going in to take Oni's shit. And they all get mowed down in there because Spirit's fast. She can face to different spots. So they didn't stand a chance. Which obviously Adam hears all this and he's just like, God damn it, I keep talking to these people and they don't fucking listen to me. Um anyway, it's Fung's time, so she decides she's gonna head out and he's like, okay, be careful, remember, don't cross the border. And Fung goes and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna take the shortcut. Nothing bad's happened to me before, and something bad happened this time. So Fung dies. Adam hears it. He just like gives a resigned sigh. And at this point, the police roll into Adam's house and they see Ace out there making marshmallows. And they're like, that's the guy. And Ace had no idea that he was wanted because he pieced out so fast. So Jill and Leon take Ace onto the property to try and force him to tell them what he did, how he killed these people. And they die there. Adam is trying to prevent any additional fatalities and is loading all of the other survivors onto the bus. Yui's getting on her motorcycle, flipping the bird to Yunjin's dead body across the way before tearing out of there. And Adam is successful in getting everybody on the bus, but Jeff's like, "Oh, dude, I gotta pee. Can I use your bathroom?" And Adam's like, "Sure." He's like, "Oh, fuck, I don't have time. It'll be faster if I go out here." And Adam's like, "Don't cross the property line." And Jeff's like, okay. So he gets like toes right up to the property line, but doesn't cross it. He whips out his dick, and the dick crosses the property line, and Spirit just slices that sausage right off, and he dies from blood loss. So at that point, we have our final survivors of Dwight, David, Zarina, Jane, Adam, Kate, and Yui. Everybody gets on the bus and leaves, with the exception of Adam, who goes back into his house. He had promised everybody that as soon as they have updates on the bodies, funerals, and whatnot, he would give them all a call. He's got himself a little book that's got all the information of all the people that ever crossed into his yard because shit went down in the Yamaoka estate. He makes himself some nice hot cocoa and puts it in a cup, and he walks outside, goes to the property line, sets it down, gets a stick, and pushes it across the property line. And there's a little flicker as the spirit phases over, takes her cocoa, and leaves.
Well,
Adam is a good boy.
artist feels that in the end, Rin would let Adam take Fung's body off of the property
Oh, probably.
in exchange for the cocoa.
I feel like Adam's been doing this for a long time.
That if he actually stepped on the property, he might not die.
Yeah. Because he seems like a really nice guy.
Does. The purest of heart. And nothing calms
So,
rage like hot cocoa.
exactly. Like, he's never touched any of the shit that's like, he's never crossed trespassed, he's never stolen any of the shit.
If anything, he actually tries to make sure she doesn't get bothered by
Mhm.
like doing his best to keep people off property. But of course, we've worked in customer service before. We know people don't
Yeah.
fucking listen.
Yeah, they never listen. But yeah, I like when I was thinking about this, I was like, he's probably one of the people that could like give her humanity back
Mm-hmm.
because like her dad was an ass and her mom was great, but her mom died. So like he could be kind of like the dad she didn't get to have. So he's like kind of taking care of her on the side.
Artist also said he's a teacher and she was a student.
That is true. Because I was originally like, Yui might win because, she would stand up to her and like Yui would be like a kindred spirit to the dragon. But I was like, no, she doesn't respond well to other people like being enraged. The only people in her life that she like very specifically mentions that she loved and had a connection with was her mom, who seemed to have treated her well. She had a really good connection with her. So it's like the only person that's probably going to get through to her is going to be Adam,
Mm-hmm.
because he's got the patience for it. He's got the understanding for it. And if you're a teacher, you've seen all types. So and he seems like a very respectful person.
He does.
So that's why I was like, okay, Adam's gonna make it.
Also, with the whole trope of being like the one who knows the history of the haunting, they usually live anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And I just really love when Adam survives. Just as a whole, every time he makes it, my heart warms.